The WCA home has private rooms for seniors who need assisted living. We are a nonprofit home founded 125 years ago for women, now seeking approval for men. Our mission has always been top-notch assisted living. Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to this edition of Chautauqua Sunrise. Now, I want to put it right up front, folks, that this is a pre-taped show, and we're taping this about 3 weeks beforehand, because me and the guys, we're not here right now. We're somewhere up in Buffalo or Amherst. I don't even know where we are, up along the river, Niagara River, and we're riding for Roswell, the team and I. So we're going to talk about that today for this show. So I want to say good morning to all of my viewers, and I also want to say good afternoon to all of our listeners, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people. So glad you could join us and be part of the show today. So no call-ins, you can text this, but it'll be later on in the month that we'll catch up with you anyways. But we're glad you're here, and we got three of my crew guys and our friends that we're going to be talking about riding and biking and Roswell and all kinds of stuff. So stick around, will you? Okay, a few things I want to share with you before we get started, as always, is first that this is June 23rd show, and probably in 2 weeks from now, the whole crew, all of us are going to be in Mayville on the 4th of July, and we're going to be doing, except for you, and we're going to be doing a live show in front of the Mayville Library as always, and Rick Mascaro is going to co-host the show with me, and we're going to announce the parade, and that's always a lot of fun. So put that on your calendar. Either watch the show live or come on down and say hi. Also, we talked about the fish in the past, over in Westfield. There's 87 different fish that have been decorated and designed, and they're exhibited in such great fashion. I'm sort of like jealous. A couple of them, I just couldn't believe what they did with them. So if you haven't had a chance, get over to Westfield, Barcelona area and get a map, and you can go online and get a map, and I'll tell you where to go right now. You can go to Westfield, Barcelona. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. Westfield, New York, all one word, .com. But it's westfieldny.com, all right? And they have a map of where all the fish are. And also you can buy ballots, and you can vote for your favorite fish. And if you need a number 15 is a very nice number. Chautauqua Sunrises. And I think these are book of 20 for $10 or 3 for $5, something like that. And you can get these over at the Peaceful Design, which is in Westfield, or the Dove Cottage, or, hang on, I'm looking at Bet's Insurance. Look how small that print is. I mean, is that teeny tiny or what? I can barely see it. Anyways, great fun happening, and the first Fridays are coming up in the farmers markets in Westfield and all that sort of thing. All right, so let me just make sure I mentioned all these things. Good. All right. So today I'm going to go over some announcements for things coming up that I know will be happening after the show rather than getting everything backwards. So we're going to go to Jamestown, and they are going to have their 15th annual local music showcase. Now, I've been talking about this a little bit already, and this is mark your calendar. It's September 8th, but also if you're a musician, a duo, you've got a band or whatever, and you're interested in playing for the annual local music showcase, and this is the 15th year, give them a call at 664-0991. It's a great night. You pay one money, and you get to go wherever the bands are playing. There are, I think, like 15 different venues, and the bands are every genre of music you can imagine is playing that night. It's just a great time. This is either my 5th or 6th year, maybe my 6th year, maybe 7th, I don't even know. But it's a good night, September 8th. Okay, moving right along. Let's see here. Cassock having their 2018 Chevettas Chicken Barbecue. Okay, now Cassock, I say a lot here on the show. That stands for the Chautauqua Alcohol and Substance Abuse Council. They're holding their first annual Prevention Works Chevettas Chicken Barbecue. That's a lot to say. On Saturday, June 23rd, so that's today in virtual time, in the South County at the Jamestown Jammer Stadium over on Faulkner Street. And tickets are $10 each, and the proceeds will go towards Chautauqua County Youth Prevention Services. Your support will help increase the outreach with youth in the community. Cassock provides school programs as well as one-on-one services for youth living in a chemically dependent home. Last year, Cassock worked with, this is really sad, I mean, I'm glad they're doing it, but 5,000 students they worked with across the county. All right, so tickets can be purchased from any staff member or board member, and you can give them a call at 664-3608. All right, and they've been around since 1974. I want to also share with you today, June 23rd, there is a program going on, and it might be a little late for you to drop in, but nonetheless, I'm going to share it with you. It's Addiction Response Ministry Christ-Centered Recovery Program, and Bishop Leecroft Clark will be featured. And this is going to be held at the Pillar of Fire Church in Dunkirk. It's brought to you at no cost by the Addiction Response Ministry and Chautauqua Alcohol and Substance Abuse Council, Cassock. The intent of the course or training is to develop facilitators who can effectively teach the Christ-centered recovery class to those affected by substance abuse. So it's going on right now, starting at 9 o'clock, but let's just say this is a reminder for you that had signed up. Stop watching the show, get in the car, and go to the training. Okay, let's go on to the next one, slide 16. WRFA's 2018 Great American Picnic. I love the 80s. Do you remember the 80s?
Unfortunately.
You had hair and high shoes, and you don't remember it at all. Yeah, we were having children at that point.
When was that? About 30 years ago.
Yeah, WRFA's picnic is going to be held June 26th at 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Southern Tier Brewing Company. I've heard it's a great time, and this year's theme obviously is the 80s. Let's see, there's it's saying here, I see Steve Davis, I'm over here. John Marino, Rebecca, McIlvain, We Speak Canadian, Feverhawk, Bill Ward, Porcelain Bus Drivers, and Cheers for Beers. They're all going to be featured at the Great American Picnic. So mark your calendars for that. Okay, here's one coming up on July 14th. Come join us on July 14th, and the rain date is the 21st, at the Westfield Farmers and Artisans Market on Saturday, the 21st. from 9 to 2. The market has grown from 10 to 35 vendors since it began some years ago. Each week the crowds begin to gather early to shop great deals and wonderful products from farmers and artisans in the area. It's time to add Westfield's great food services, restaurants, wineries to the market for a great event. This is going to be called the Taste of Westfield. It's a great day for fine food and entertainment with a community picnic atmosphere in the park. This will be a day to show off some of your finest foods, beverages, and sales and service. We suggest that you offer samples at a reasonable cost. Also, you can offer discount vouchers, coupons to be used at your establishment. This will be like a picnic in the park. Tables and chairs will be there for your customers to enjoy your fine foods and wines. Remember, you want to have new or old customers return to your place of business. You will meet hundreds, if not thousands, of new potential customers that come to historic Westfield to enjoy the sights, sounds, and scents of community that the Westfield Farmers and Artisan Market has provided. Okay, if you need information, if you need to know about tables and setups and things like that, chairs, give Nancy Scriven a call at 269-9726. 269-9726. And also, you can go see the fish. They're going to be there as well. And did I mention number 15 is a good one to vote for? Okay, Roger Torrey Peterson's Wild American Nature Festival. Mark your calendar for this event, which is going to be returning to Panama Rocks with John Weston, where its second year, July 28th and 29th. The last weekend of July, headlining the event are Roger Torrey Peterson's son, Lee Peterson, a nationally best-selling author, Jennifer Ackerman, and famous animal expert Jeff Musial with his animals. Sounds interesting. I guess the Wild America Nature Festival will also be able to explore the Panama Rocks scenic area and try their hand at, oh guys, we got to do this. Think about this. Think of all of us. Try your hand at axe throwing at the brand new Excellent Adventures. Yeah, exactly. Discounted weekend passes are available for the price of a one-day pass to the Wild American Nature Festival or online at wildamericafest.com. Discount early bird passes, one-day gate passes are $10. That's reasonable. For general admission, ages 13 up, $5 for youth ages 6 to 12, and kiddies age 5 and under are free. The festival is currently accepting volunteer applications for this year, which comes with free admission and other benefits, as well as applicants for the farmers market and hosts for classes, workshops, and activities. To volunteer to participate in the farmers market, please visit the festival website, and again, that's wildamericafest.com. And of course, your host will be Jonathan Weston, who runs Panama Rocks, and you can contact him at jonathan@panamarocks.com. And as he says, have a wild summer. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to be right back with my fabulous friends here, and stay tuned.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
You know, I tell my wife all the time, don't throw anything out, I might need it, so that's why I keep things, is you never know when you need to build a robot or something really cool. And I've saved lots of money because I go and I strip out parts and wires and bolts and things like that. You never know when you can use that stuff. Okay, my good buddies are in the studio today and they are dressed up accordingly. So I want to welcome Galen Zook, Jeff Zook, and Randy Burt. Jeff and Randy are guys behind the scenes here at, what do we call ourselves now? Access Chautauqua? Access Chautauqua, right? Used to be Access 5 on 1301 here on cable TV. And we wanted to do a show, and we did one last year, I believe, we wanted to talk about cycling. We wanted to talk about the Ride for Roswell. We want to talk about bike safety and things that we can share with you as our listeners, our viewers, for your children, your friends, yourself. And so I want to start with Galen because we know that any moment in time
I actually just
he could
got a
be.
phone call. But that's all right.
All right, we're good?
Yeah.
He could get another phone call any second now. Would whisk him out of the studio. So good morning, Galen, and welcome.
Thank you.
Galen, you're sort of like our superstar when it comes to riding.
Oh, stop it.
Stop it, keep it coming, yeah. I track your progress every day. I mean, you're really killing it out there on the hills and that. So what got you started in biking?
I don't really know. I just started riding shortly after I got out of the Navy about 20 years ago, and I don't know where I got my love for it, but I kind of have a clue because I didn't realize how much my dad enjoyed riding bike. And then I kind of figured, yeah, maybe that's where I got it. But I've been really, with diabetes now too, it really does help a lot with the with helping keeping my blood sugar in standards.
We were just talking about this a week ago. You said your blood sugar during the wintertime was quite high.
Yeah, it was really high. Now once I got down to the summer and I'm able to ride consistently, it's back to where it should be.
Right, and I think the word you use consistently is really difficult with the weather we've been having.
It does have a lot of it does have some health benefits to it. Unfortunately, actually, this is going to be aired on the 23rd, so on the 2nd of July, I'll have to take probably a couple month hiatus because I'm getting my left knee replaced.
So Jeff and I move up to spots 1 and 2 then.
Exactly. There you go.
You're so far ahead of us in miles, it's incredible.
Well, different kind of bikes, and I'm a little more experienced.
Well, yeah, 20 years
I've been
compared
riding
to
longer than
I've only been a couple, 3 years.
yeah.
So,
But
so explain to folks your typical workout. I mean, I just sit there and I look at it and go, oh.
well, depends on what I'm doing. If I'm not training for a ride, I just go out and I ride, and I don't really push real hard. But if on the 2nd of June, I did the Tour de Cure, which was a 65-mile ride, which is what I'm doing today.
At the Ride for Roswell.
At the Ride for Roswell, right. And that involves, and granted the course up there is extremely flat.
Sure it is. That's what you told me last year.
Well, it depends
I
on
know
your.
what you say. I know.
It depends on. It all depends on perspective.
Every man's flat is different.
Right. It's all about perspective. There's nothing more. There's the hills that you climb up there. There's not a single one around here that's easier than that one. Okay. Or, I mean, more difficult, I should say.
Okay.
All the hills around here are longer, steeper.
So what's the secret of doing 65 miles? I mean,
It's all about pace.
They break it up for you if you want, right?
Well, what do you mean?
They have rest stops.
Oh yeah, they have rest stops.
And it's not a race, right?
No, it's not a race.
So it's not a race for Roswell; it's a ride for Roswell.
Ride for Roswell, and it's like I said, it's all about pace.
Okay.
Find a group that goes about the same speed, and you can help each other. And
that's me and Randy. We have our own group.
Well, you want to stop at a minimum at least every 20 miles.
That's not a problem for me.
But if there's, in your case, you'd want to stop every 10 miles.
That's a good thing. Yes, that's something we can do.
Get some fruit. Get something to eat. Make sure you're hydrating yourself really well, Randy. I have a story for that.
Tell the story. Tell the story.
My first ever ride for Roswell, I was riding with Randy, and we're going along. We're coming up close to the first rest stop, and Randy and I are just talking along, and next thing I know, Randy's gone. I'm like, where'd Randy go? Well, Randy hadn't hydrated properly the day before, or during the race, and the ride, and kind of fell out from dehydration.
Oh my gosh.
So the medical people came along and got him rehydrated, and he did finish the ride. But
So you say hydrate the day before. What do you recommend?
I normally the day before I will drink until I think I can't drink anymore, and then I'll just drink more. And you end up going to using the restroom a lot, but that's good
Right.
because your system's it's getting there. And then first thing in the morning, drink as much water or sport drink as you feel, and then throughout the day make sure that you. I know Jeff. He usually tries to drink a bottle of water every 10 to 12 miles. And that's not bad.
That's about right for me too.
And it depends on how much you sweat too.
And
how hot it
the
is.
day, the temperature, right?
The temperature
Temperatures.
and all that. And that's that could you get to know that because you learn your own body.
Okay, let's move on to Jeff. So Jeff Zook, you're our engineer here and make everything look really cool as we're moving along here and whip us when we need to. So how long have you been riding, Jeff?
I think about 5 years, 4 to 5 years, something like that. This is my fourth year for a ride for Roswell, and I started just before that. So it hasn't been too long.
Who's drink?
Yeah, I think he'll be back.
Okay. So about 5 years, and how many years now? 4 years, you said, for
Yeah,
Roswell?
4 years for ride for Roswell.
So which rides have you done? You haven't done the 100, right?
No. I can't. It takes me a couple hours to drive 100, and it's just, and I'm tired at that point. But usually what I do several fundraiser rides throughout the summer, and I usually hit about a 35 to 40 mile. About a 30 to 40 mile ride, depending on what the lengths are. And
Do you get this from people that you say, I'm going to do a ride and I'm going to probably do like 30 miles today, and they just kind of look at you and go like, what? And after a while, after you ride, it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
If you break it up,
Yeah, we were talking just a minute ago about, breaking it up. I find that every 7, 10, 12 miles, depending on how I'm feeling that day, it's a good time to stop and take a break, Just
have a sip of something, or
water. This is about 20-ounce size. This one's insulated. You can carry your coffee with you. Usually most riders have a couple of baskets down on the frame,
down
on the frame above the pedals, like right between your knees. So it's just easy to reach down and get a hold of it. But yeah, one thing I found, if you start feeling dry in your mouth and stuff like that, you're starting to dehydrate. Get a couple sips of water.
Right.
Even if you stop for a minute,
it's not a race.
It's not a race, and when you do stop for that minute, you see the swimmers shaking themselves out. That works wonders. It helps.
Your legs kind of recharge, and
exactly. It helps the blood flow get back into them. And do some high steps. Whatever you want to do, look foolish or not, or whatever.
Stretch a little bit.
Yeah. But don't take too long, because then you start to cool down a little bit, and then your muscles get hard to work. And I find if I stop for more than just a couple of minutes, best thing I can do is wait another 5 minutes or so. Then your muscles have started to relax again a little bit, and it's easier to get started. So 10-minute break at a rest area. Cookies, fruit, peanut butter and jelly is always a favorite. Fruit juices, water, not so much caffeine because it's a diuretic. It'll and you're out there sweating and
you don't need to be losing more than you need to.
Losing any more water. But
I remember when I ran cross country, which I might say poorly, but at the end of the race, they would give you oranges, and I remember just grabbing those oranges, and it was like a lifesaver. Just the sugar and the juices. Yeah, it kind of revives you and Okay, so and which rider? No, we formed a team this year, right?
We formed a team this year.
So the three of us are the Chautauqua
Chautauqua
Sunrisers. Chautauqua
yes.
Sunrisers. And so we are individually raising money, but our team together, we're hoping to raise a bunch of money. So for those of you who are watching, I'm told you still can go to our individual pages on Ride for Roswell. Just look up our names. And then you can still contribute, and we will encourage that if you like. So let's go on to...
Here's yours.
Yep, there's me and Randy. There's your picture. I found a picture of us. Yeah. So you just there's mine, and you just and I have
Scroll
a little
down.
there, and you have a little button to donate, and away you go. Okay. So
This one's mine.
there's yours. Wow, he's moving fast. Look, woo, you're pretty wordy. Look at you. All right. And there's
That's
Jeff.
actually last year's picture. That is not a Ride for Roswell T-shirt, but it was really colorful. It's I go out to my daughters in at Thanksgiving time, and they have a turkey trot.
Yep.
They raise money for homeless. There's like 20,000 people show up for this like 3-mile walk,
Well,
and it's like 9 o'clock Thanksgiving morning. So it's
I did a turkey-
move my feet so others can eat.
My daughter and I, we did a turkey trot down Erie, Pennsylvania, about 8 years ago. That's kind of interesting. Randy Burt, you're sort of the one that started all this, from what I can tell here at the studio.
I think 11 years.
11 years. So what got you riding a bike?
I rode bikes as a kid, the little Stingray or whatever you called it. I would go as far as I could and then call my mother. Come get me! Rode all around the county, and then, I don't know, I think one of the first couple items I saw was, I think it was an MS ride from Erie to Allegheny, and I'm like, wow, that is cool. I didn't do it, but then I saw in Westfield over 100 bicycles doing a century ride. They were all the big wheel bikes.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
Oh,
so
the
hot
Hamels.
that day, and they were coming from Erie to Buffalo or something, and
They ride 100 miles on those big high
they were
bikes.
riding them on the big high bikes, and they were all over the place.
I have a trouble on a low bike. Oh, my
One
God.
of the guys did a 65 at Roswell
So,
last year.
yeah, I heard about that. I didn't see him, but I heard about it.
Yeah, I saw him out on the road because the 35, the 45, the 65, and the 100 are all conjoined together at the start. They come and then they come back together at the end. But
Oh, wow.
it's all over the place.
I don't know.
I got lost. Frankly.
All right, that's easy to happen. All right, so we're having a little technical difficulty here, little mechanical failure. Well, there you
It's
go.
gonna hang here.
You just hang right there. All right, so this is your 11th year, and
I started out with I did 2 MS bike rides. I did around the lake.
around Lake Chautauqua.
Yes.
Is that hard to do, Lake Chautauqua?
Well, the ride itself went good. I did a ride the week before, and I took off with 1 bottle of water.
Oh,
And I got on the other side of the lake, and my legs were like that. And I had to get home. I didn't have any other way, so I just had to keep biking. So
the adage that I've been told is never ride anywhere where you can't walk home.
yeah, well, I could have walked. It was 43 miles.
Holy mackerel!
But a week later, I did the MS ride. They had
A week later.
3 rest stops: Long Point, the Lakewood Rod and Gun, and Hogan's Hut, where you had bananas and stuff. And
Yeah.
it worked so much better.
Yeah. Well, I think people are learning how to take care of the riders more and more and what they need. And not everybody on these rides are experienced riders, I know. I'll see people say, well, we just got our bikes and we decided to be here. And I'm going, like, you haven't prepared
Yeah,
for this?
really.
Like, that's one thing I would recommend. I know some of us have probably over 100 some miles already ready. I'm almost 150. You probably have more than that. No, you
Guess how far I've got.
I don't know.
So
3.
the day of taping, I've been around the parking lot twice.
Randy,
And I haven't been on a bike
you need
since
to get
last
ready.
ride for Roswell.
Oh my gosh.
But I also did a second MS ride, which started in Blaisdell, Buffalo. And we rode 50 miles to Dunkirk. We spent the night, and then the next morning we took off and went back to Buffalo to get our cars. So the second day went a lot better because all the way to Dunkirk we fought the wind really bad. Well,
What do you guys do for the wind? I know I try to get as low as I
pedal
can.
and I
but it's-
don't move.
Yeah, I know. That's,
usually try to find a gear that's a little easier to ride.
Drop it down.
Drop it down a couple of gears. Maybe I have 3 gears on my front. I usually ride with a lot of wind. I usually ride 2. Bring 2, maybe, and then I have 8 on the back. So probably 2, 3, 4, 5.
You have 8 on the back. Okay.
Yeah, I've got 8 on the back.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, there's.
So what we're saying, folks, is that we have on our left hand, you have low, medium, and high. Right? 1, 2, 3, and 1 is the easiest, and 3 is
the larger,
fastest. It's hard to explain.
The larger gear. It takes the most torque to turn it.
Right, and then the same on our right hand, we go from 1 to 8 or 1 to 7. And what was yours, Randy? 7?
I don't know. I just keep shifting until I can move. I don't know these.
Well, anyways, what Jeff's getting at is, and you can jump in now, is that you have to learn where your body feels about right, because you want to be pretty consistent in the way you're riding. So you try to find, am I second gear 5 or first gear 7, third gear 2, whatever it is that feels just right. To me, I'm always experimenting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think everybody experiments. Because everybody wants to ride a new spot. So, a new hill, a different hill, a different straightaway, all this kind of stuff. And, how much you want to really push that day has a lot to do with it, too. The pace. It's also known as cadence, 1, 2, 3, 4, that thing. That's basic cadence. And you just, I like to listen to music when I ride too. Yeah.
I would get so distracted. I would just get distracted and end up getting hit.
But again, that's personal choice, because you might like symphony music to ride with.
Sure, something relaxing.
I have no idea what God ever put symphony music on this earth for, because I just don't understand it. But I'm sure there's people out there. I know there's people out there that like it, love it, and But anyhow,
okay.
But there's all kinds of genres of music.
Absolutely. So people do a lot of different things. Okay. So as far as my own thing is, I never rode a bike when I was a kid. We weren't allowed. We lived in the city of Buffalo, and my parents were just terrified that we would get hit by a car or a bus or whatever. And so I used to sneak my best friend's bike and ride it around the neighborhood when they were working, and I never really developed a skill at biking. And then when I was in college, I was poor, so I bought English racers, Dutch racer, and they all got stolen one way or the other. It was terrible. So it was sort of like an omen, don't ride a bike. So then finally, as an adult, I said to my wife, I'm sitting around and I got to do some exercise here. I got to do something. And so she bought me, and I'm not going to say where it was from, but it was a inexpensive mountain bike, which weighs a ton. They are heavy. And the bike was really for probably a teenager or a big child. She just bought it. It was on sale. She thought I'd like it for Christmas. And I tried to ride. I just could not ride it. So finally I just said, I got to go to a bike shop and get this figured out. And you guys encouraged me, and that was about 3 seasons ago. And as it turns out, and I don't know if I told you this, my godfather, my dad's brother, he was an amateur bike rider. They would go to like New York City.
Ride the old velodromes.
And yes, and they would ride the 6-day races and all that sort of thing. So I guess genetically it's in my system, I'm not sure. I just enjoy riding just because it's almost like a Zen thing. It's quiet, it's just me riding, and everybody says, well, why don't you ride with a group? I said, well, I kind of like riding by myself, just kind of doing my thing. And I don't know if you guys experience this, Randy, when you're riding around, whether it's in the city of Jamestown or wherever, when you're in the car, you're all enclosed, but when you're on a bike, every aroma, whether it's good or bad, you are sensing. But I smell things out in the vineyards, like flowers that are blooming, like the mustard seed or the locust bushes and things like that. That's really very, very, it's nice. It's a good smell. Or then, of course, you have things along the road that are kind of rotting, and that's not so cool, but it's an incentive to keep moving.
The septic place we go by this year.
Oh, wonderful.
One of the big city.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Septic plants.
Thank you. So anyways, but it's what you make it. So one of the things that we were going to talk about today is why are we riding for Roswell? Okay, so let's start with you, Jeff. Why are you riding? I mean, you could ride any. There's all kinds of rides now. So why are you doing the ride?
One is to hopefully someday have a cure for cancer.
Right.
I lost my wife to cancer several years ago,
remember.
and it was pretty dark time. Actually, I was looking for something to do because I was physically needing something.
Yeah.
My body was actually screaming at me, "You got to do something." But it helped a lot. And Ride for Roswell is Roswell Park was actually a gentleman that started this institute. I'm not even sure when. I know you did some research on him a couple of years ago.
Right.
And he started this institute to research cancer, patient care, and all that kind of stuff. But the thing about it was, for me, how do I want to put this? It brought me out of that dark depression. It took a while, but the physical activity and the first time I finished up my 30-mile ride for Roswell, you turn the corner to the finish line, and here's all these I believe it's survivors' names that you ride over and ride by to the finish line, and it's just like I think they're riding in the race too, or riding in the ride too.
Oh, really?
I think that's what it is. I'm not sure.
Well, I remember last year, Randy and I were getting ready to do the 44-mile ride, and they said, "Look up. There are people waving at you, and that there are patients there. They're all at the windows cheering you on because we're there trying to help them." Remember?
Down at the Institute.
And I remember the hair just stood up right on my arm. I mean, I felt like somebody had just electrified me, like, I'm going to do this, because I was kind of. I had never done a long ride before. I mean, I had done 20 miles, but never a 44 in one day. And so that was really moving, I thought.
And I just hope that someday, eventually, they will find cures for cancers.
Yeah,
because there's
cancers is right.
There's hundreds of different types of cancers out there. They're different families. It's just like a genealogical tree.
Yeah.
And so nobody has to lose friends, spouses, because it's difficult. It was difficult for me to work through that. It took a long time.
But you've come through.
I've come through. I'm feeling much better,
You are.
and
I've seen it.
You've seen it.
We've all seen it here. Right? We're a team. Randall, why do you ride for Roswell? This is not a small matter. I mean, it's we make it sound a little bit easy, but it's strenuous. It's a good day's work.
I ride for a lot of people, but mostly last year I actually had my sister come.
I remember Lori.
And she's got cancer. She's had it. In fact, her first trip to Roswell is where I got the brochure on a ride for Roswell.
So she's been dealing with this for
Doing it
11
really
years.
12 years or
Wow.
so. And this year, even though she's not a Roswell patient, my cousin's granddaughter, Ivy Wilson, she just turned 3. She had the brain tumors with cancer.
Poor kid.
And just reading all the stuff that the whole families went through. All the time they had to leave and stay at the hospital for the treatments, and they would have to put her to sleep every day to give her the one treatment.
Wow.
It's like,
Yeah.
she looks like she's doing really good. She's the cutest little thing you ever saw. I have her on my page with my sister, but I have just, when you were younger, cancer was, that person smokes.
Right.
That person smokes, but now
Right.
it's like everybody.
Yeah.
There's something that's just causing it. And
Well, and a lot of breast cancer, skin cancers,
I'm sure
things
if
like
it's
that.
in the food, the air, or what, but
Okay.
everybody's got it.
And people say, "Why am I riding?" Well, my mom was a breast cancer survivor before she passed away. She was cancer free for about 35 years and dealt with Roswell. My dad, he had prostate and kidney tumor on his kidney, and was treated, and everything went well. And he lived to 94, as you know. And then, and I mentioned this in my other shows, my childhood friend Jim Hatch. We were like inseparable. I mean, we got in trouble. We played in the band together. I mean, we just did everything together back in, when we were growing up in Buffalo. And he ended up with stage 4 lung cancer, and it spread into his brain. And I was with him just the day before he passed away. And in fact, and so I just, upfront and personal, like yourself, I saw what it could do to a human being's body, and I got to be honest with you, it was somebody else was having it.
It's not so much what it does to the body, as it does emotionally.
Right.
For both people, because you hear this terminal disease, and it's like, oh my goodness, what
Got a phone call.
Okay. Let's see.
How did we know that? Maybe somebody's.
A little elf just came in.
Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a little clip here because we're going to talk about bike safety, okay? And because I want to switch a little bit because I just got a note that we should do this right now before we forget. So we've got a clip of Joe Gerasi being on my show last year, and we were talking about bike safety and pedestrian safety. So we're going to roll that clip right now. So take it away, Chris. Get your microphone. That's what
when you get a chance, I'll be watching the show and replay, but can you talk about bike safety? Are bicycles allowed on the road, or are we supposed to ride on the sidewalk?
There are more and more bikers, and including myself now, Joe, and it's confusing. Some towns you go and there's a bike path, and then there's other places there's nothing. You see bikers riding the wrong way. You see bikers riding without helmets. I mean, so is that what you want, Randy?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I was riding a couple of weeks ago, and I had somebody holler out the window and tell me to get on the sidewalk, and it's like, I didn't think bikes were allowed to ride on the sidewalk, especially like in towns. So I'm going to get back to my ride here so I can maybe
catch up with me. All right, well, I'll see you in the future.
Yeah, I'll see you at the finish line, maybe.
Okay.
Thanks
All
a
right,
lot.
thanks, Randy. All right, bike safety.
And hopefully no one's yelling out the window at you right now, wherever you are. But the rules of the road, the bicycles are allowed to utilize the road. They're not supposed to be on the sidewalk. That's for pedestrian use. Bicyclists have to obey the rules of the road.
Stop at stoplights.
Stop at stop signs, use hand signals.
Yep.
Unfortunately, helmets are not mandatory for adults, but they are for children.
But I'm recommended, I would think. I have mine right here.
That is, I've seen in my career so many occurrences of bicycle incidents where that helmet was the difference between life and death. And
I don't go out without it.
And you never should. And it could be the simplest thing, a fall off your bike.
A dog chasing you all of a
anything,
sudden.
Some unforeseen circumstance, you blow a tire, you hit a pothole that you didn't know, and it could be something much more than that. Somebody, some other vehicle doesn't see you. So our recommendation to bicyclists are, use good common sense, be defensive all the time. You can't assume that the motorists are paying attention to you. We have that issue with motorcycles as well. Wear bright, reflective colors. If you're going to ride at night, you have to be thinking about visibility. And the safety part of it, that's something we are proud of at the Children's Safety Village. We're now giving a curriculum to all kids from around the county.
Talk about segue, wow.
Yeah, and that was one of our mainstays to start with, is that nowhere in the county did we have a unified curriculum for bike safety. Most communities weren't getting any bike safety, so we're getting that now, and we'll see these young people moving up to adults that have been through bike safety training and they received the helmet, and hopefully they'll be wiser bicyclists. But as motorists, we got to be thinking about that too. The bicycles have a right to the road, and we have to be aware of the good weather. We're going to see a lot more bicycles, a lot more motorcycles, and we have to yield to them and give them the roadway. You talked about communities. This is a big push across the county. I chair the Traffic Safety Board for Chautauqua County. We talk about bicycle safety regularly, and we talk about some of the communities that are developing bike lanes, which will make it easier for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful way, we're looking, State DOT now, with new reconstruction projects, are looking at bike avenues to try to help the bicycling community.
Okay, so the rule of thumb is bicycles go with traffic. If the cars are going west, you ride west.
Correct.
You're not in the other lane facing traffic, you're with traffic. What about pedestrians when they're walking country roads? It's the opposite.
It's the
isn't it?
opposite, yes, and teach your kids that too, that you want to be able to see what's coming at you, but with a bicycle, you're a vehicle, you're not a motor vehicle, but you have to apply the rules of the road. You don't go against traffic, you ride with traffic.
And when you're walking, something bright, and you're facing the traffic, so when the lights hit you, they see you, have a flashlight, reflective material and stuff like that, because people get that all mixed up. And it's amazing to me to this day that you'll see people all dressed in black on the side of the road, on the wrong side, with their back to you, and you don't know it's a human being to the last second.
Well, the biggest thing...
Okay, folks, so there's words of wisdom for every age group, whether you're walking or riding, but especially riding. And I got to tell you, yesterday there was a situation where I was on the way to the studio here, and there was a bunch of bicyclists, and there's maybe 6 of them together in a pack, and one biker was like in the middle of the lane of traffic, and I'm right behind them, and they did not move. I mean, it was like common sense and courtesy is you pull over to the side, get in line, so the car can go by you, or at least go around you. This person didn't even budge. I don't think that was smart, and as my wife often says, they're trying to make angels today. So bikers, let's use some common sense out there. I mean, you have the right to be on the road, but also you don't want to put your life in jeopardy by just hanging out there all on your own in the middle of the lane.
See, that's what people see. They see somebody like that, and then they think it's everybody.
Yeah, and then us guys that follow the rules, we get yelled at.
Well, I don't know how many actual rules of the road are written down for bicyclists because, one, we're halfway between that pedestrian and a motor vehicle, but, we can move at 18, 20 miles an hour or faster,
Especially downhill, yeah.
Downhill, oh yeah, downhill. Downhill, you're definitely, I hit 35 the other day on riding downhill.
So I think the bottom line on what we're saying is we share the road, use common sense. You don't own the road, you share the road. And my recommendation is if you're biking, stay off to the side. You don't have to be down in the gravel or in the grass, obviously, but stay near the white line, one way or the other, but not way out in the middle of the lane, because you're going to get hurt.
So that was one of my problems when I was biking. You got the off side of the road, and I would ride right on the edge. And ended up crashing. Just 1 second you go off.
I'm on Route 20 all the time, and sometimes 5. We were talking about that the other day. And generally speaking, it's not a big deal, just kind of hovering right around there. And, I know there's gravel or debris sometimes, and you go around it, but it's no different than driving a car. But if you're on these lanes and you're in a 55-mile-an-hour zone, people come up on you faster than you realize when you're on a bike. I don't know about you, but they're right there right now.
One thing that we haven't mentioned is some of the safety items that we can include on the bicycle.
Go for it.
Flashing lights.
Okay. You know what? I got a little sampler here. Now this is something that I got just recently, and these are just little bippy things here, but any kind of a flashing thing, especially.
They sell kits, and they do lots of different stuff to help provide for the safety. Like you said, we don't have any. Doc's got the only really bright shirt on today, but bright shirts. They have some flashing lights of all different kinds of intensities.
Right.
The helmet, like Joe Sheriff Gerasi said. I've a friend of mine that I rode with through Hollyloft. He's on a different ride, but he fell one night, broke the whole back of his helmet out. Caught, on the backside. Just broke it out.
Remember Mark Wilson that was on the show?
Yes.
He got hit this spring. And he went flying and he had his helmet on. I'm sure it saved his life.
Got hit head on.
Yeah, and these are things just like anything else. There's different qualities. And I'm not telling you where to shop, folks, but buy a good quality helmet. I mean, you can get a $5 one, you can get a $35 or a $50 one. I think this was like $35.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of money when you're out there in riding, you know, and vehicles are all around you. And don't worry about your hair. You got to push it down. You're not going to look great afterwards, but just get the helmet. They're adjustable. There's a little doohickey back here, and don't ride without one. That's my recommendation. So what else would you have on a bike?
Let's see.
Let's see if I've got it in my pouch.
Probably the best safety thing is on a bicycle.
Yep.
Is under the helmet.
What's under the helmet?
Your head, your brain.
Aha. Common sense and
yeah. You've already hit on it pretty much too. But like I said, you know, there's different common sense rules to riding. You know, they aren't written down. You know, larger groups have different ways of riding than smaller groups or individuals or any of this kind of stuff. But you know, no matter whether you're in a group or whether you're by yourself, accidents can happen. Motorists, you know, I think Mark's Wilson was a victim of texting. Fortunately, they were both going fairly, fairly slow, so he just went over, did a cartwheel over the car and landed on his feet on the other side. And I cannot imagine his wife. He was riding with his wife, and I just cannot imagine his riding.
Yeah, Tanya was shocked. I always have my phone with me. About you guys, but I have a special little mount that I can put right there. But I have it in case of emergency. I always have it with me. You know, about you guys.
There's also last few years on bike rides, you can be a paper. You write your emergency information.
Sure, that's good.
Either put it in your helmet or somewhere. So if you're out alone, you crash, they know who to contact.
Who are you? Yeah, you could be on contact. You
You
guys
got
have
diabetes, or if you need this and that.
You guys have pouches on your bikes?
I've got a couple.
I got
Okay.
one.
So what's in your pouch?
The pouch I carry with me on the back has a CO2 canister in it.
Okay, and what's that for?
In case you get a flat tire.
Okay.
I've also got a tube in there.
Okay, so let's see what's in mine. I feel like I'm on show and tell. There's my spare tube. I already had to replace one this year.
Yes.
I keep it in the box because I always forget what number it is. So.
There's all different kinds of sizes and everything else on that.
But and I don't have the CO2, but Bart, my wife, she bought me this really cool little hand pump. And
it works to get you to the next rest stop.
This is not going to pump you up to the point where it's 100 pounds pressure or whatever, but it pumps you up to get to the next rest stop. Exactly right. And I had to use this not too long ago, and it's got this really cool little clip that you can hook to the frame of your bike if you wanted to, and then it just clips right on there, and away you go. But you got to have that backup. So, some type of air source.
I carry an Allen wrench set.
Allen wrench, and for what?
Well, you can, if you have to take your tire off or something like that. If most bikes have medium to higher end bikes have quick releases, so you can actually do that. But there's also a set of tire. Ta-da! There you are, spoons, or whatever you want to call them.
These are wonderful. I remember.
Absolutely
How many
necessary.
of you remember taking off a tire with screwdrivers?
Screwdriver.
Right? Oh, no, and then you tear your inner tube. But these little gizmos are lifesavers, and look how little they are. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to do that. And those are aluminum, mine are plastic. High pressure or high ABS plastic, high potential.
No, that's not lunch. I have bandages.
Yes.
You never know when you're going to need bandages.
A blister.
Yep.
In the wrong spot.
Yep.
Can ruin a day.
Randy, how about hands? You and I talk about this.
I do have gloves like yours.
Okay, so I brought my gloves
When
today.
I remember to put them on.
And why do you wear gloves?
They just, I don't know. Your hands get slippery.
There's pressure, slippery, okay, for sweating. For me, it's because almost like a carpal tunnel. They have pads in there, and these things have pads for I don't know what part you call that, but anyways, along the sides of your wrists and things, and your hands, and they're sawed off ends. You know, they're like mafia gloves or something, you know, like hitman gloves, but they're fingerless, and so they get a little warm sometimes. And I take them off and put them on, but it makes your hands more comfortable. Okay. Anything else you guys have on your bikes?
Camera.
You have a camera. I don't have a camera. Well, my phone.
Yeah. See, my camera is. I don't want to have people seeing me stand on the side catching my breath. So I'm the guy with the camera that stops and takes a lot of pictures.
Okay.
So.
You know, one thing we forgot, Jeff, is our patch kit.
That's why I carry a spare tube, unless I get a second flat on my ride, which
would happen to me. But anyways, I have my patch kit, which has quick drying cement with patches, so that's in there.
Those are invaluable. You can help somebody else out too.
There you go. And how about this? This has been here. I better get a new one. A little granola bar, just for a little little quick snack.
Absolutely.
This all goes in this little pack. It's amazing what you fit in here.
I carry another one on the front that I carry some sandwich baggies in, because if it rains, your phone is not. You want to tuck your phone in someplace. One, your phone is for emergencies. I use mine. I have a Map My Ride program. It's a GPS tracking program that lets you know.
Oh, I use it.
Where you're going or where you've been, not where you're going so much. But there's probably half a dozen different GPS tracking things out there that you can track in real time.
So you want to protect your phone. And I have my emergency poncho.
Oh yes, yes.
Could have used one of them, about 3 years ago.
Yeah. But if I know there's going to be rain, I just have a windbreaker that I take along, because even with a poncho or a rain jacket or something, you're sweating. You're going to get wet on the inside. It doesn't matter. It's going to get clammy and wet.
Yep.
So I just take my windbreaker to stop the wind. You're going to get wet. It doesn't matter whether it's sweat or rain or whatever. You're going to get wet. So the best you can do is try and stay warm and be comfortable. Hypothermia is another thing that can happen to you over time, especially later in the year or early in the year, just as you're starting to ride. So
stay warm.
Stay warm.
I usually carry some money, and the other nice thing about the pouch is you got to park your truck. Where are you going to put your keys?
Yeah.
So, goes your keys or a little bit of that. Some tissues. You get out there and you need to blow your nose or whatever. You got things like that. So I mean, all that dust and pollen and stuff coming at you. And these are really neat. I put this on the front of my bike, and I can get at it pretty quick. When we went to Niagara Falls last year, passports went in there.
Yep.
So and
that's how you beat me. I'm there trying to get out of my wall.
No, I was gone.
He's already
That
over.
was the only time I was ahead of you.
Yeah, you can. There's different stuff you can carry on your bikes and everything else for safety, for comfort, for hydration. Plus all the stops and everything else.
And we're just talking day trips, because the other guys I see have saddle bags and all kinds of gizmos. I don't have that.
You can do anything from a 3 mile at the Ride for Roswell to 100. But there's other guys out there doing cross country.
Right.
I mean cross country, start in California and finish in New York City. That type of cross country. North, south, east, west. However they do it. But rides are a good way to bring attention to different causes, things that you're supporting, or trying to draw attention to.
Guys, we're winding down in time. So, folks that are watching right now and listening, we're the Chautauqua Sunrisers, and we've teamed up to raise money for the Ride for Roswell. And you can go on our particular personal pages and donate. So, Randy, you've been kind of quiet here. Anything you want to say to folks?
When you see me coming, let me go by. Don't run over me. I'm a nice guy.
Okay, when you're out on the streets and that. And you have a really cool shirt. You got that last year, right?
This last year for raising over $1,000.
Good for you.
It's my big year. I got the hat, the shirt, and
all kinds of good things. And Jeff, last words for you?
It doesn't matter whether you do 5 miles, 10 miles, 100 miles. If you're out there, you're not sitting on the couch.
Right.
And there's lots of health reasons for health, blood pressure, diabetes. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You know, you're
Get out there
further
and do
ahead than the
something.
person sitting on the couch. I hate to say it that way, but you know.
Okay. All right, folks. Well, that's a wrap for us. I want to thank you for joining us here at Chautauqua Sunrise. And again, we'll be live next week. I'm Doc Hamels. My guests have been Galen Zook, Jeff Zook, and Randy Burt. And think about participating in a ride or getting some exercises that we talked about. And I hope that the show is giving you some food for thought when you're out there and exercising or riding for a cause. Take care, and we'll see you all again next time. And let's all hope we do find a cure for cancer. Bye now.